You've probably heard of Project 2025. You know, the Heritage Foundation's authoritarian playbook for the future conservative presidency. But here's something most people probably haven't heard of. Its sibling plan rolled out quietly on the anniversary of October 7th, 2024, called Project Esther. And while it's dressed up as some national strategy to combat anti-Semitism, the reality is much darker. On paper, it claims to fight anti-Semitism. But in practice, it weaponizes that label to target the pro-Palestinian movement. Project Esther literally redefines anti-Semitism to mean criticism of the Israeli government. That means peaceful protest, academic debate, even Jewish groups who oppose the occupation, they're branded as part of the so-called Hamas support network. And it doesn't stop at rhetoric. This plan calls for deporting non-citizens who engage in pro-Palestinian activism, cutting funding to universities that don't toe the line, surveilling and criminalizing dissent, even floating the use of RICO laws against student groups and advocacy organizations. It names names. Faculty, students, organizations like Jewish Voice for Peace and American Muslims for Palestine, painting a target on their backs. That's not about protecting the Jewish community. That's about silencing political speech, period. And here's the kicker. This blueprint wasn't written by broad Jewish coalitions. It was drafted with, quote, minimal Jewish input, and instead heavily shaped by Christian nationalist and hardline Zionist voices. One heritage official even dismissed the rise of right-wing anti-Semitism while focusing all their firepower on campus activists. So who's behind this, you might ask? Victoria Coates, a vice president of the Heritage Foundation who formerly served as a Trump administration national security advisor. In 2013, Coates became senior national security advisor for U.S. Senator Ted Cruz. She oversaw planning, strategy, and communications for Cruz's participation in writing the annual National Defense Authorization Act, or also known as the NDAA. When Trump was elected in 2016, Coates joined his transition team for the National Security Council staff. She oversaw the maximum pressure campaign against Iran. She's also partially responsible for initiating the negotiations for the Abraham Accords. Robert Greenway, a heritage operative and architect of the Abraham Accords, along with Victoria Coates. And last but certainly not least, Daniel Flesch, a former Israeli diplomat and IDF paratrooper. In other words, this wasn't written by Jewish community leaders worried about synagogue safety. This was written by political operatives looking to weaponize anti-Semitism for authoritarian ends. And here's the part that should make you sit up. Many of Project Esther's proposals are already being implemented. We're already seeing visa revocations, academic crackdowns, arrests on campuses, all justified under this new definition of anti-Semitism. Civil rights groups have been warning us, prepare yourselves, because this isn't some think tank fantasy gathering dust on a shelf. It's happening. And if we don't push back, Project Esther could be the model for criminalizing dissent in America. Fighting real anti-Semitism is essential, but using it as a political weapon to silence movements for Palestinian human rights, that's not just dishonest. It's dangerous for democracy, for free speech, and for every community that's ever been told to sit down and shut up.